computer. Okay, good. Okay, Jackie's not here. Is Steven here? No. Fiona's not here. Is Kevin here? No. Is Taiwan here? Oh, we don't have Leo or Terry. Okay. Wow. Okay, so how's everyone doing? I hope you guys had a great weekend. As you guys can see, you guys have all your quizzes and everything graded. Your report sent back to you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we are all caught up. I cannot believe I gave 36 assignments this quarter. That is insane. That's more like a math teacher type of work, not this one. All right, so what I need you guys to do is I need everybody to open up, basically create a new project in a new class, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to, a new project in a new class, and I want you to name it or anything, okay? So I want you to give it 2 variables. Okay, so you guys should be able to see exactly what I've got here. Excuse me. Okay. Now, how many of you guys got this? Raise your, or give me a thumbs up. Are we good? Okay, so what I want you to do right now is let's go ahead and make a constructor and a toString method for this class, okay? Go ahead and make a constructor and a toString method. So I'm gonna say public superclass. Now again, what does a constructor not have?
A return type.
A return type, very good. And so I'm gonna say string name and age, okay? Public superclass string name int age, okay? This dot name equals name. This dot age equals age, okay? I'm gonna make a toString method. Public. Does a toString method have a return type?
Yes.
Yes, it does. What do you think it's gonna be? A string. Okay, public string, toString. Okay, does it accept parameters? Yes or no?
No.
No, it does not. Okay, so public string toString. Okay, boom, I got that there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just basically going to say return, say name, plus, oops. Name plus name plus a age. Oops. Okay. All right. So, and I'll do this. Just separate it. Okay. So there we go. So I have this here. I have my toString. Everything is golden. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to create an object. So I'm going to say superclass A equals new superclass. Say John, and I'll say 25. Okay. Now, given just this highlighted piece, are you capable, okay, just given this, are you capable of reverse engineering this class?
Yes.
Yes. How many, at least how many global variables will you have?
2.
What type are they?
One string and one int.
One int. Now you could say double, but more than likely they would put a decimal there if it's a double. Okay. And we have enough to make our constructor. So we're good. Okay. So I run this, everything is fine. Okay. Now, if I wanted to print out the values, I can just say sysout A. There we go. That tells me what my values for that particular object are. But here's the problem. Okay. Let's say we go into a bank. We create an account, we have our name, we have our balance and stuff like that. Okay, everything is golden, right? And let's say that the bank's programming is programmed the way that our program is done right now. We have a little bit of a problem. Okay, and here's the problem. So I have this A, superclass A, et cetera, et cetera. So the key thing is this. Let's say I say A dot. Okay, oops, I forgot to do that, sorry. Okay, I forgot. Okay, right now, if I did A dot, I could see age and I could see name, which means let's say I was in a bank and I was able to access the balance. That means that theoretically, I could change my balance to whatever I want it to be. So right now, if I said A dot age equal to 84, and I sys out A, now age is 84. I have actually overridden the variable for this object. You should not be able to do that. And that is where public versus private comes into play. I'm going to add the keyword private to my variables. Okay. Now moving forward, every global variable in your superclass should be private, okay? And the other thing that I want you guys to know is this. On the AP, and we'll go over the subset as we get closer, it is actually a half-point penalty. So if you have to make global variables, let's say they're giving you a class, you have to make global variables, it is considered a half-point penalty. So if you forget to put private, they won't mark you off. You know, you can still keep going and get up to 9 points, and then they'll take the half a point off in the penalty for not using private. So make sure, okay? Because take a look, the minute I hit save, something's gonna happen in the tester class. Age is no longer accessible. So if I say A dot, it is no longer acceptable, or like it isn't accessible. You can't see it anymore, okay? Now, that being said, the question is, do we need to, what's the best thing to say? The best thing to say is, I have made my variables private. Are there times where I'm still going to need to access the values of the variables? Absolutely there are. Are there going to be times where I need to change the values of the variables? Let's say, for example, let's say I have a name and I go into a bank account and I get married and I use a hyphen for my name. I'm going to have to change that variable, but right now I can't because I don't have access. Okay, so in order to solve this, we use what are called getters and setters. Now, in the programming world, you will know them as getters and setters. You go to work at Google. Hey, can you write a getter? Hey, what's the setter? But the AP, because they like using big word terminology and stuff like that, they call it also called accessors and mutators. So if you see an accessor, it is a getter. If you see a mutator, it is a setter. Okay? Remember those. And here's why. So we're going to write our first getter. And getters, guys, are very easy. Again, pray that you get, pray that you get a question that is asking you for a getter. Okay? Public string get name. Return name. That literally would yield you 2 points. That's it. What now? Get name is not a coding term or like a coding rule. So do you guys know how what's the best way to say it? Public string get name. So camel case. You guys know how camel case is not a rule, but it's more an accepted norm, right? You guys understand that, right? Using get and the variable, get name, okay? It is an accepted rule. And now, do you know how we know that it's a getter? It uses the word get. It's accessing. That's why it would be considered an accessor. It's accessing. So you have to look at it this way. You make your object. You need the value of name. You can't access it. What get name is basically being is the middleman. Hold on there for a second. You know what? Let me get the value of name for you. Okay? You're not going to be able to access it, but I can. Let me get it for you. That's what a getter does. Because even though, so the variables are private here, what that means is in any other class that you make, you can't access them directly. However, within the same class, it's all fair game. It's like a public variable. It can be used at any way it wants to be used. Okay? So go ahead and take a second. Make your second getter. Okay. Very simple. Public int get age. Return. Okay. How many of you got that? Perfect. Now, that being said, unless specifically telling you to just use the variable, you see our toString method up here? More than likely, they will want you to do like this. Get name, get age. And the reason that I'm able to say get name and get age is because it's a method inside the class. I don't need to make an object out of it. I can just call on it and it'll spit something back. However, here, I would have to say a.get name and a.get age. Okay. If I just printed out a, it still works also because it's getting the name and the age. Okay, as you can see. Again, getters are like the middleman. Oh, you need the value? You can't access it. and I'll get it for you. And as most of the time, 90% of the time, guys, it's just that. Now, do you need to make a getter for every single global variable? It's good practice too. Like, for example, let's say I can tell you right now, your quiz tomorrow is going to be on getters, setters, private, all that kind of stuff, and maybe making a method. I'm probably going to give you one global variable just to show me that you guys know how to do it. Okay. So these are accessors or getters. Now, everything's private. And I told you earlier, there are going to be times where I am going to need to change the value of a variable. But since they're private, I don't have access to it. I can't. So what I now need to do is I need to use something called a setter. Think of the word set. I am setting something. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to, let me write this down, setters or mutators. Again, guys, so Kennedy, what does mutate mean?
To alter or like alter in a bad way normally.
Well, just to alter or to change, right? A mutation is a change, right? So when we are setting something, think of overriding, okay? So setters or mutators, all right? So what I'm gonna do now, public string. So Benny.
Yeah.
Okay, so notice that I'm using set name, not a rule. Benny, do I have parameters, yes or no?
Probably not, but maybe.
That's it's one or the other. You're basically covering all your bases there. I didn't want
I'm gonna guess no.
yes, but
because
also no. So what was that?
I'm gonna guess no because accessors didn't either.
Unfortunately, you are incorrect. Accessors are just getting the name for you. But if I have a mutator, I need something that I'm going to override the value with, right? So this dot name equals name, return name. I can even say return this dot name. Okay. And the reason why a setter is basically where you're saying, okay, let's say again, like let's say I got married. I have a bank account, I got married. I add a hyphen to my last name. I'm going to say a dot set name, and then I was gonna say the word Peter, okay? So I'm gonna just, oops, hold on one second. Boom, okay? So now it's Peter. I have overridden. So what the setter is basically doing is saying this, Benny. All right, you don't have access to it. I do. You give me what you want to change it to, and I'll do the change for you, and then I'll spit back the information. Now, the thing that you have to understand is when you're using the setter, you have overridden it. You've completely overridden it, okay? So that is what a setter is, okay? So go ahead and make a setter for your age. Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm a boy who hates online learning? Oh, that's right, Armand. Pump it, pump. Give me that beat, Armand. Give me that beat. Okay. DJ Armand. All right, so. Okay, so setters always accept a parameter, okay? Now, the other thing is this. a lot of times in setters, there will be if statements saying, okay, if it is this, go ahead and change it. Otherwise, don't change it. So you keep that in mind, okay? Now, setters are rarely used, okay? They will be used, but I'd say 50% of the time. If I had to do like a pie chart of which one is used more, it's 80-20. Getters are used 80% of the time, setters are used 20% of the time, because you're not often overriding variables, okay? And again, most of the time, guys, you're gonna have a getter and a setter for every global variable, okay? Now, guys, again, we got the time. Is there anyone that has any questions in regards to this?
For the
Hold on, one at a time. Allie got there first. What's up, Allie?
Can you explain the use of the getter again?
So again, the getter, when we make our global variables private, basically we're saying is that in any other class, because again, you have to look at this way. Allie, a class is basically a blueprint. It's a hierarchy, okay? And basically what we do with a class, and I'm gonna go more into classes in detail soon, but basically what you're doing is you're creating a blueprint, and then you're going to make copies of that blueprint and make them detailed, okay? But what private basically does is it's a form of protecting your global variables so that nobody can just access them on the whim. You never want to give them direct access. So in order to protect the variables, what you say is we create a getter, and a getter, again, they act like the middleman. Okay, you're not going to be able to say a.name, okay, because I protected my variables. I made them private. But tell you what, if you call on my method, I'll act as the middleman. I'll get it for you, and I'll tell you what it is. So basically, that's all a getter is doing, Allie. Depending on which variable. So when I say get name, I'm getting what the current value of name was. When I say get age, I'm getting what the current value of age is. Now, as you can see, with a setter, I can override it. So you got to be aware of those. Okay. Boom, like that. So now I know that it's Peter. Okay. So that's going to get what the current value is. And the setter is basically saying, okay, I don't want you to directly overwrite the variable. You give me what you want it to change to, and I'll change it to you, and I'll change it for you and spit it back. Does that answer your question? Is a little bit, it's more, it's kind of like a repeat of what I said, but do you understand it a little more, or do you still have more questions on it? And feel free to ask the questions, Allie. This is the perfect time to ask them.
I kind of get it.
Okay. Who else had a question?
For this setting, can you just do everything that's in your code in one line?
For the what?
For like the set age and set name, can you just make it one line?
You can, but in terms of like, it's not, put it this way, you can, but even with advanced programmers, this is like the common accepted way, Kennedy. I see what you're trying to do, like more efficiency, you can knock it out with one line and stuff like that. This is kind of like status quo, okay? All right.
Mr. Marty.
Hold on, yeah, what's up?
So the int age that you're using as a parameter inside the set age, is it, because we already have an int age from the main class with the main method. Is this another one? Is this a new int age? Can you do that?
Where, with this one?
Yeah.
This one is just another dummy variable. This age has no idea that this one exists. They're just local variables. They're dummy. Whenever you, just like within the, like a for loop. Remember I did one for loop and I had int j, and then I did another for loop and I had int j.
Yeah.
They only live within each other, and they don't know each other exists outside of each other. So this int age has no idea that this int age exists. It could be A or B, age and age. They don't matter. They can't talk to each other. These parameters, the only thing that would talk to each other is the actual global variables. These won't ever talk to each other. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So now, okay, what I want you to do is take a look at my superclass. Oh no, bollocks. Okay, I totally forgot that. Okay, now what I want you to do right now okay, is I want you in the super class. I'm gonna make a block comment. Write a method that returns a string array. Write a method that returns a string array. It accepts a string parameter. Each letter from the string will be stored in an array index. This is literally the stupidity and complexity of the question that will be asked on the AP. Now, this is something that would not be asked on the AP. Store the returned array appropriately in the tester class. Hey Siri, set timer for 4 minutes.
Okay.
One more minute. I'm not going to give you the full 4 minutes. We're just going to go 1 minute or 3 minutes. How many of you are done? Okay, that's fine. And by the way, just giving you guys a heads up, I want you to continue working, but still listen to me. You're going to get more of these practice problems every single day to just warm up. Okay, so that literally by the AP, not only have we had like 40 or 50, different problems to warm up that are similar to the AP. Again, the goal is it should be like, oh my God, this is similar to the one yesterday, free points. That's where I want to get your guys' mentality. Oh, this is the same thing. Okay, what's the pattern for this one? Oh, it's this, free points. I hate Martinez. Now, Allie already has that mentality, but I want everyone to have that. Hey, no thumbs up there, Allie. What the? ISIS Ben was yesterday helpful for you guys? Cool. We feeling a little better about ourselves? I mean that in a serious way. I mean that seriously, yeah? This is actually the caring teacher part of me. And if you let anybody know that I asked you that, we'll have some problems. I'm an ass. All right, here we go. All right, so basically the key thing is let's decipher this question. that returns. You will always see, they will always tell you, they will always use the word return. And if they use the word return, they will tell you what it's going to return, a string array. Okay. So I say public string array. And I'm just going to call this LS for letter slicer. Okay. Or well, I'll just call this L slice. All right. And I accept a string parameter. How many of you got that? Okay. Good. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is this. All right. Now on an AP, if they're telling you to write your own class, you would have to do this for you. But this type of a question, you're probably going to get everything up to here. They will probably give it. So the first thing you need to do is this, okay? You need to store the letters in an array, which means you need to make an array. String X equals, sorry. Okay, you would get one, this is like about a 3-point question. Maybe, yeah, I'd say 3. You would get 1 point for this. How many of you got this?
You need to add.
I got you, Kent. Don't worry. That's why I'm the teacher. So, all right. So how many of you got this? Raise your hand so I can see. Okay. So those of you who didn't, guys, again, don't panic. It's in May. But you have to understand, I'm having you need to store, it says each letter from the string will be stored in an array index, which means I don't have an array here, which means I probably need to create one. And why do I probably need to create one? Because it's asking me to return one. Okay. So then I do my for loop. For int j equals 0, j is less than x.length. Now, what else could I use? What else could I, Benny?
Well, you could just use y.length.
Parentheses or no parentheses?
No parentheses.
That a boy. Will the AP penalize you on that?
Probably.
No.
Oh, they won't?
No, I told you guys. The AP, let's say you did this. Y.length. The AP will not penalize you. Will the Marty penalize you? You're damn right I will. Again, I don't care about the test. Program correctly, okay? So y.length, j++. Now for this, believe it or not, you would probably get a point for this. How many of you got this? Unfortunately, if you didn't get the array, you're probably not going to get this point either, okay? Now, for the next thing I need to do, so this is where both come hand, believe it or not, okay? So what's our y index j equals, literally, guys, you would get a half a point for getting this correct and for doing this correctly. This is the way that the AP works. Okay, you would get half a point for correctly getting the for loop and for accessing every index of the array. Right now, the way it is, am I appropriately able to access every element of the array? Yes or no? Yes. You would get the point, the other point for this. Where is it? Now, this is a hit or miss. Most of the time, you're either going to get a half a point for this or you'll get a point for it. Okay. Not sure, but it always depends because I don't ever see this being more than 3 points. Okay. And then return y. That is the answer. So if we dissect this question, okay, write a method that returns a string array. My return type is a string array. Am I good there? Yes. It accepts a string parameter. Am I good there? Yes. Now, again, this will actually all be given to you. So right off the bat, if you know you're not returning an array, you messed up. Each letter from the string will be stored in an array index, okay? Well, I don't have any of this, okay? So that means I know I have to create an array. I have to take every single letter, okay? And in this instance, guys, I'm telling you right now, character is not tested on the AP, so it would be stupid to do a character, okay? So don't do a character, just use substring, all right? So, and then I have to cycle, I have to store each letter, and then I have to return the array, okay? This would be 3 points. This is literally the type of question that you would see on an AP, okay? Now, the next thing that I want you to do, or as I told you, this part would not. Anything with the main method, the tester class, is never tested on the AP. You wouldn't need to write this. You wouldn't even need to know this, okay? So store the returned array appropriate in the tester class, okay? So I've already made my object string array z equals a, which is the name of my object, dot L slice. I'll just put in Peter. Done. And to test to make sure, just to test to make sure that it worked, I'm just going to choose z index 3 and print that out. E 0, 1, 2, 3. Bingo. That's it. Okay. Now, again, as you can see, this, how many of you guys got this? Okay, let me ask you this. Be honest, how many of you guys got the full 3 points? So if I did this, so like if I gave you guys the full 3 points, 1 point for that. Okay. 1 point for all of this. Okay. 1 point for this. Actually, you know what? I could actually see 0.5 for just creating that. You're only going to get 0.5 for the return. Because they'll assume, look, we already told you what you had to make. So I can assume that it'll probably be like that. Because this is, I don't see this being a 4-point question. This is more a 3-point question. How many of you would get 3 points? Raise your hand high. Good job, Ben. You got this. Okay. How many of you got 2.5? Kennedy, what'd you miss?
I added brackets for the return. So it was like return Y bracket.
Okay. Now, believe it or not, Kennedy, you wouldn't be marked off on that. They would probably consider that a rushed error. So they would actually probably, knowing AP, they'd be like, you know what? She meant Y. She probably was just whatever. They probably would give you the return. So you probably would have gotten a 3. Okay. Who else? Armand. Who else got 2.5? Keep them up. Armand, what did you do wrong?
I did the same thing as Kennedy.
Vasily, what'd you do?
I didn't do a return.
You didn't do the return?
No.
You mean you didn't do the first line of the problem? Okay, who else had 2.5? Isis, what did you do? Sorry, Vasily, that's funny. Go ahead.
I did the same thing as Kennedy as well.
Okay, Benny,
I just did my array wrong.
what'd you do?
I put it outside of the method and I like set it equal to something.
You put it out. Okay, do not do that. You keep doing that on your quizzes too. Unless it specifically says global, keep it in the method. Don't do that. So in that instance, Benny, you would get an instant 0. Because you violated the conditions. Now, I wouldn't give you a 0. I would see what you're doing. Obviously, I'm not going to be cruel. I would give you some partial credit on an AP. You violated the preconditions, you would get a 0. Okay, who else had 2.5? Ashton, what'd you do wrong?
I accidentally put the return in the for loop.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, who got 2 points? Allie, what'd you do?
I messed up the array line, I think.
Which one?
What was it? I think I messed up the second line and then the fourth line.
Hold on. You guys probably already know this. If I cut off or something like that, it's usually my monitor. Allie, repeat yourself.
I messed up the second line and I think the return line.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then Nick, what did you score? You got a 1. Which part did you get wrong?
I just didn't have enough time. I got the for loop in my head. I got the y in my head, the y index j. I didn't get it on paper.
Now, I want to give you guys also a heads up. Let's just say you created a y array and you didn't know anything else and you did return y. They're not going to give you credit for this. You've got to store something in there. You've got to have an attempt. They're not going to, oh, well, they made the array the right way and then they returned the array. They're not going to give you credit. Okay? Because theoretically, you're creating an empty array. Okay? You've got to store something in it. There's got to be an attempt. So if you think, oh, I'll code for points and do it that way, even me, I'm going to give you 0. You can't just say, oh, return this. There's got to be an attempt. Okay? So clearing that up right now, just in case some of you are a little confused. Okay? All right. So that being said, does anybody have any questions? Okay, so we went over private, we went over setters and getters, and we just had a practice problem again that we'll probably do more of to get us into the habit of coding, okay? Does anybody have any questions? Nick, are you sure? And again, Nick, we got till May, brother. Any questions, let me know.
We always need those brackets whenever we're for our return type. How you had the string and then the array symbol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always. If I'm telling you to return a string.
Yeah, I know, but just for an array.
Yeah, if it's an array, yes. Whatever the type of, because it could be an array of sandwiches. Maybe we have objects called sandwiches. Okay. Allie, girl, what was your question?
Was there homework? Because you said something that
There wasn't homework. I thought I said that in my email. I sent that to you guys that there wasn't any homework.
Oh, maybe I missed
There
it.
will be homework tonight, okay? Now, I am going to, in about an hour, I am going to send you guys a video, okay? Now, Kennedy's already figured it out. Probably some of you also there's a website called Coding Bat, okay? I am going to have you guys sign up for Coding Bat, and you will do a couple of the problems there. That will be your homework, okay? Because Coding Bat basically deals with methods, all right? But the thing is, you can share your method. I want you to take attempts. we're going to start off easy, okay? Until you get it. Now, again, guys, Coding Bat is great because you can constantly figure out examples that'll show you what it works for one thing and not for another. And then we can go over those in class, what worked and what didn't. And then in some cases, how to simplify it, okay? So expect to see that later today. It's going to be a screencast that I share with you guys, okay? All right, anybody have any questions? Okay, again, guys, don't forget, you also have extra work on, you guys have extra resources on AP Classroom. You guys also have extra resources on Adhesive. All right, so guys, great class today. And again, I sent an email out to you, so you guys are fine. Wednesday the 29th, we've got the speaker. Your test is next week. Right now, it is looking like one multiple choice question. I'm sorry, one free response question, okay? One free response question, not one multiple choice worth 40 points. All right, so talk to you guys later. Have a great day. I'm sorry for keeping you over, guys. Don't let me do that. If I'm going over, stop me. Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
Thank-